We're going live again. This time, my audio should be better. So embarrassing from yesterday. I had Aki Katabi and my mic for some freaking reason, didn't turn on right. So little embarrassed, but it's trials and tribulation of doing a live stream. I have Cosima Cabrera coming on from the Fox new TV hit, The Cleaning Lady. Today, if you guys are watching tonight, it's the season finale. So for you guys who haven't watched it yet, you have till now to catch up. The season finale is still now. So if you guys haven't caught up, 10 episodes on Fox. As I always do, I'm sending out the link. People, all you got to do is just go on Facebook Live and look for it. But I'm sending out the link for everyone who wants to watch, everyone who wants to be on and say, I'm going to go check you out. I am going to watch. I'm going to do all that. So I send out the link. I send out the link to everybody who normally likes to watch. And a lot of people do. A lot of people come on. A lot of people say, hey, thanks for sharing the link. Sharing it with friends, family, co-workers. Doing that again. Yesterday, man, I had Ike Kotabi on, and it was just so embarrassing how my mic setup was not where I wanted it to be. It's better now. I double check, I triple check, I quadruple check, I check. For all you Filipinos, I in-checked out there as well. It should be working, should be better. The quality should be a lot better. So let's go ahead. And again, I'm just sharing this out to everyone who wants to watch, everybody who wants to jump on. You guys want to share the link? Go ahead and share the link with people. There is another guest coming on. This is going to be one of those weekends where it's just going to be a crazy weekend. I do have another guest coming on Wednesday, if everything goes right. Wednesday, I have somebody coming on, and it's just going to be one of those days where it's just a busy day. It's going to be busy. Someone asked me to share the link on YouTube. So I'm going to share the link on YouTube. For the ones who want to watch on YouTube, I'm going to share it there if it's easier for you guys on YouTube. I'm available on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch. So if you guys, wherever you guys are on, you guys can definitely jump and watch. I think that's it. I think I got everybody. It's one thing I want to do here. I want to edit my audience at the end of the live. All right. There we go. Everything is ready. Who's watching us? Where are you watching me from? Everybody's watching me from Facebook right now. I got that bot that's going to come on Twitter or Twitch in a minute. This whole cleaning lady trip is cool, man. I definitely enjoyed it. I want to throw shout out to my first guest, Martha Millen, who jumped on, Miranda Kwok, who jumped on as well, Josette Candelao, and today I'm going to have Cosima Cabrera coming on. Also wanted to throw a shout out to Ms. Marsha over on Twitter, who's always retweeting my tweets, especially when it comes to the cleaning lady. Ms. Marsha, if you're watching on Twitter, quick shout out to you. Thanking you for always jumping on. Also, quick shout out to Aki Katobi, who came on yesterday morning, early morning here in San Francisco, who jumped on. And I made a mistake. Cherry blossom in San Francisco is not till April. I kept saying it was yesterday or this weekend. I apologize. It is not till next week. So we're waiting for the 6:00 time. I told her I'll jump on and get everybody going, get everybody here, and get everybody started. How's everybody's Monday been so far? It's been kind of tough for a lot of us on Monday because today's the first day of, what is it? Daylight savings. We all had a hard time coming on a Monday. Even though we lost an hour, it was still tough on a daylight savings like today. Gotta scoot the chair over. Yeah, it was tough. I had a hard time. I know I did. I had a hard time. I feel like I'm missing something, and then when I realize what I'm missing that hour. Damn you, government. Didn't we get rid of that? Didn't we say, you know what, let's get rid of daylight savings? Didn't the Californians vote for us to get rid of daylight savings? Why do we still have it? Why is daylight savings still here? Why do we still have it? Again, we're going to have Cosima Cabrera, actress, producer, director, who played Gabby on the Fox TV hit The Cleaning Lady. She had a couple episodes on there. The Lion's Den. She was also on the Icebox, which is kind of the couple questions I'm going to ask. If you guys have questions that you guys want to ask, go ahead and throw the questions. Again, the questions that I'm going to ask her are going to be relevant to acting only. So if you guys throw me those questions like, I don't know, questions that's not relevant to what we're talking about, I am not going to ask the questions. I will definitely throw the questions on. Again, if they're relevant, I will ask the questions. We'll do that. And if it's not relevant and it's nothing that I want to ask her, don't get mad because I'm not going to ask her. You guys can ask yourself, find her on her social media platform. This right here, we're just going to use and talk about her acting career, how she got into acting. So that's what we're going to do. So if anyone, again, if your questions are relevant and they're good questions, I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to share it on the screen like this. I don't know how to get rid of this comment. It's just one of those things that Restream has. I want to get rid of it, but it's not letting me for some reason. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do is we already have her in the waiting room a few minutes early. So as we do all the time, I'm going to record right here. All right. Another episode of the Daily Podcast and the Daily Vlogs with me, Eric B. Today, I got a special guest again from the Fox TV hit The Cleaning Lady. Yes. You guys are wondering, who else do I have? I have Cosima Cabrera coming on today, who played Gabby in 2 episodes. Episode 5, I think it was the Icebox and then the Lion's Den at the same time. She's going to join us in a few minutes. But first, as we always do, we got to get this started. So let's get this started. Welcome, everyone. It's the Daily Podcast and the Daily Vlogs, and I am your host, Eric B. Happy Monday to everyone. Happy first day of the hour that was stolen from us. Could have sworn we voted all that off, right? We voted to get rid of daylight savings, but here we are, and we still haven't. You can tell from the bags under my eyes that it's still here. But today we have a special guest coming on with us. We have Cosima Cabrera from the Fox TV hit The Cleaning Lady. I'm ready to bring her in. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. You ready? All right, she's giving me a thumbs up. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, here we have Cosima Cabrera.
Hi.
Giving you a little applause button there. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Happy Monday. It is Monday. It is the first day of, I guess, daylight savings. How's that treating you down in LA?
I honestly had no idea it was daylight savings.
Lucky.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So it's daylight savings. Good to know.
No, yeah. I mean, it was like last night. I'm like, oh my God, it's 7 o'clock. And it's like, oh my God, it's 8 o'clock. It's like, what's going on here? Why is it going so fast? But Cosima, thank you for jumping on. And like I do with all my guests, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Cosima. Most people call me Cosi, actually. But yeah, nice to meet you guys.
Cosima Cabrera, who plays Gabby from the Fox TV hit The Cleaning Lady. We're going to talk about The Cleaning Lady in a second, but there's a couple things that I want to bring up. A couple achievements that you had as an actress. And first of all, let's start off with what made you want to be an actress?
I started acting when I was 6, and I was actually a child actor. And I watched a lot of TV when I was 5. I watched Friends, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and The Simpsons a lot,
Wow.
which I guess is unusual for a 5-year-old, but those were, I had this tiny little TV with 10 channels, and those were the channels I watched. And what I remember was that I just wanted to be on the TV too. But and so that was always like how I remember I started acting. Like I grew up in LA, so my mom um, got me an agent, and I started out with background work. I got my SAG card when I was 7,
Wow.
so I was really young. But yeah, it wasn't until later that my mom told me that what what actually happened, although all of that was true, but my dad had a heart attack when I was 5, and I think my mom was starting to think that if I acted, it might help pay tuition because my dad could possibly die, and so she asked me like, "Oh, do you want to act?" And then that's what like ignited a flame, and I was like, "Yes, yes." And I remember just like saying over and over again, "I want to be on the TV right now, right now, right now." Um, and I remember when I did like my first commercial, I was 6, and I thought it was gonna appear on the air literally that night. But it does. I learned it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that and when my mom explained to me that story, things started to make sense because I was like, what 5-year-old can draw a connection that like the people in the TV are actually human beings? And I realized after it was because my mom explained that to me.
Nice. What was the commercial? Can you share what the commercial was? Do you remember what the commercial
It
was?
was for Comerica Bank.
Okay. 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 It's nice. How was it? I mean, hey, and you just mentioned that your mom asked you if you wanted to get into acting, and you said you were watching all these TV shows, and you said, I want to do it. Is that just something that if you lived outside of LA, do you think you still would have thought that way?
Probably. I mean, growing up in LA, I guess is like pretty inherent in like my DNA, I guess, and that definitely influenced my story. My parents probably they are who they are because my dad grew up mostly in LA. He was born in Mexico, but he moved to East LA when he was 4. My mom grew up in Northern California and then moved down to LA. So it's like LA is pretty inherent to like all of our stories, but
Yeah.
so it's hard to imagine me living anywhere else actually, or growing up anywhere else. But yeah, it's like I don't see myself having wanted to do anything else growing up, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. I mean, because you always hear like actors or actresses, they always it's either if you're not going to New York to be a Broadway actor, you're moving down to LA and you're trying to find your way in LA. But you growing up in LA, you found your niche, you found something you wanted to do, and you're I've seen some of your clips and you're really good at what you do. Um 2015, you have the Award of Merit, special mention at the Indie Fest for a short called The Ninth Girl, right?
Yes,
Something you produced, right? You want to talk about that?
I did do that. Yeah. That was a project that I was really passionate about. It was about sexual assault, and that was a topic I really cared about. So when I auditioned, I initially wasn't a producer, but the director asked me if I wanted to take on the role of producer and start submitting it to film festivals, and it got into a couple festivals. Um, so that was a really cool project to work on. It was really meaningful.
How hard is it to work? I know six. I watched a couple of shorts when it comes to making films? How difficult is it producing a short versus a full length? Because you got to try to get your word out in 6 minutes. You have to try to let the crowd know, hey, this is what's going on, and we're letting you know in 6 minutes this is exactly what I want you to see.
Yeah, that's true. That is a challenge of it, and this one was actually a silent film. Surprisingly enough. So that adds its own layers and dimensions as well.
And those are a cool. I mean, there's a couple shorts that I've seen that, like you said, it's just the acting, and you're putting more into the acting versus me telling you what I want you to hear. I mean, when you said silent, I'm pretty sure it was just you acting out what was going on and letting us feel what you were feeling. And to me, I love watching shorts just because there's more into what a short's in. And then I started thinking about, like, God, what did you go through to think of this and have to put it out in 6 minutes? That's like crazy in a good way, right?
It is, yeah. Definitely in a good way, yeah.
Yeah. And then what else? Well, I mean, you definitely, your character in The Cleaning Lady is just one of those, like, The Cleaning Lady is epitome to a lot of, not just the Filipinos, but a lot of immigrants in the United States. And in that one episode where you did the Icebox episode, where you're just a normal day, you're going to work, you guys are having fun on the bus, doing what you normally do, and then, you guys get raided, and then now you're like, your mom sense comes in, you're like, I got to pick my kids up. They're at school, but here I am in this box. How was that? How did you find, Gabby in that situation?
My dad was an immigration lawyer, so I grew up hearing stories about undocumented immigrants getting deported, him working on cases, him having a lot of difficulty getting judges to, grant lawful permanent residency, green cards, whatever, him putting his heart and soul into these cases, and sometimes it going nowhere, sometimes it going somewhere. So it was a really personal role for me to enact. And my dad actually passed away in 2019. And when he did, I had to close down his business. So I was basically in charge of, his assistant, for 2 weeks after he passed away, returned files to the clients and everything. And he had over 100 open cases when he passed away. So she was able to return like about 75 files. And there were still files that were remaining, and then there were files that fell through the cracks, and like it was a lot. Like, some of his clients I did get deported. I think one of his clients, what my dad's mentee, he mentored a lot of other lawyers, went to court I think the day he died, and then they found out like at court that his lawyer had passed away, their lawyer had passed away.
Yeah.
And they were like crying. And so it's like I got a taste a little bit of what it was like to be my dad in those weeks after he passed away. And I mean, even before he passed away, I did help him out with cases. I did translations of legal documents and everything. And my mom was actually an immigration attorney herself when she was in her early, I think, her 20s. So, she didn't do that line of work when she was raising me. But stories of undocumented immigrants have always been really dear to my heart because I was raised by an immigration lawyer. So I already had like a lot of heart for this character.
Yeah.
And I also did watch a couple documentary series on Netflix as well to prep for this. Living Undocumented and then Immigration Nation. I recommend those for anyone. but yeah, it was a lot of, that type of research and just the personal experience I have with my dad that influenced my preparation for this role.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those roles where, and in my past interviews with Miranda, I said episodes like that makes us realize what immigrants are going through on a day to day. You're always looking over your shoulder, and when you do get caught, the things that you don't think of is who's going to take care of my kids, who's going to pick my kids up. It made that situation real for the ones who doesn't go through it, and it's like every day these poor immigrants who are working here and just trying to make a living for their family, just trying to support their family, has to look over their shoulder every day. But they also, you know, sometimes they don't think about what's plan B just in case something like this happens. And that episode, it was just like, you and Martha, you guys were just the way you guys were with each other. You're like, I got your back. I'll make sure, Martha's character, Fee, was like, I'll make sure your kids are picked up. It's that closeness. It's like, wow, this show, it's just like it's on another level, and
Yeah.
one of those levels where it's not just the main characters, it's the supporting cast that's around it that's making the show. And it's one of those shows where it's like, I'm really hoping for season 2, just hopefully we see Gabby come back, and it's like, Gabby needs to come back in season 2, and it's like, show us with Gabby and her kids there, right?
Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Yeah, because there was a little nod to it in episode 5 when they say I'll look after your kids and everything. So I want to see what happens there.
Yeah. No, who was your growing up when you said, okay, I'm going to be an actress? You got acting at 6. Was there an actor or actress, or was there anyone that you looked up to that influenced you to be, I want to be just like them?
Um, yeah. I mean, I really looked up to Sean Penn, and I
Nice,
also really looked up to Drew Barrymore,
nice.
who's like I feel like she's such an underrated actress, but because she's known mostly like for rom-coms, but and this is like such a corny movie to have as your favorite movie, but my favorite movie has Never Been Kissed, and I've seen that like 28 times.
Yes.
And then yeah, Ever After, like that was a movie I watched with my dad. I also watched Never Been Kissed with my dad. Um, but yeah, I thought Drew Barrymore was like, I could see myself in her. I think there was a documentary. It was called My Date with Drew, about the guy who like wanted to have a date with Drew Barrymore. And they talked about like how she is in real life, and it's a combination of her character in Never Been Kissed and Charlie's Angels, like
Yeah.
the dorkiness of Never Been Kissed. Like she was a lit major who I think was really into Shakespeare, and she was a writer, and she was this big nerd, and I could see myself in her and that character, and I think that's what like a really strong actor does, is like people can see themselves in that character that they're playing, and they get to relate to that person. Um, yeah, which like this just reminded me, speaking of Shakespeare, when I was in college, I double majored in theater and literature, and I my thesis for my lit major was banishment in Shakespeare.
Nice.
And I didn't really realize it until afterwards, but I realized that banishment is essentially deportation,
Yeah.
and it's just a you know older name for it. And I didn't really realize until after I had finished writing the thesis that I was like partly drawn to that topic on a subconscious level, having been raised by an immigration lawyer. And one of the things I talk about um, in my thesis was like over and over and over again, it's repeated in Shakespeare, the theme that banishment is worse than death. So I wanted to explore why that is, and what I discovered was like because it's like just the way it is today. Like it was a little bit exacerbated back then because there was such an unknown, like they didn't have airplanes or anything like that. So like going elsewhere was like a complete unknown. And then transportation was like, carriages on like rocky pebbles and stuff like that. But it was the idea that you're going to be disattached from your loved ones. And it's like there was like a theme that I saw of like half of your heart, you're being split open. Half of your heart is like being split.
Yeah.
And I think that really, I mean, I wish I had had the foresight to connect that to like immigration today, but it does really echo like what we talk about in the cleaning lady and everything of the separation of families and like how part of you, like if you're separated from your child, it's like a part of your heart is like taken away from you.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
we went through that, not we, but us went through that just a few years ago when, they were trying to come over and they were taking the families away from the kids. I mean, it's the cleaning lady is one of those stories where it's not false in a lot of senses because it's really happening. We just don't really see it. And then when we finally do see it, it's kind of like, wow, this is really going on. This is, it's heartbreaking when I see that. When I see kids who are not with their families and they're sitting alone on a cold concrete. And in that episode 5, that pretty much, you guys pretty much showed what was really going on, right?
Totally. Yeah. And I was so honored to be a part of it. And you're right. Like this is happening every day. And I think more stories need to be told about that.
Yeah.
To shed light on that. And so I really tip my hat off to the cleaning lady for choosing to go into that. I want to see more stories about undocumented immigrants portrayed in television.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is a positive thing also. It's one of those things where for the longest time, like I just said earlier, we didn't know this was happening. You hear these stories, but then now it's being shown on cleaning ladies. We're watching it on the news. We're seeing it day to day. And it's like, it's one of those things that it needs to be addressed, and we need to definitely find a solution and fix it to where everyone's happy in a good sense. And, it's just one of those things where, the government needs to do a better job on trying to figure out what they can do to help, these people who are just trying to come over and make a better life for themselves.
Definitely.
You speak a couple languages besides English. There's Spanish, French, and Italian, correct?
I do. Yeah. I had a multilingual upbringing. My parents both speak different languages. So they wanted me to be multilingual. So they sent me to a French elementary school.
Wow.
So I went to le Lycée International de Los Angeles, it's Lila. It's in Los Feliz. It's like a French immersion school. So I started speaking French when I was 3. That's where I went to elementary school. And then, even though my dad is from Mexico, I think was too lazy to speak Spanish around me. So my mom sent me to an Argentinian school on the weekends to learn Spanish. And then I actually started learning Italian during the pandemic.
Wow.
It was actually inspired from acting because I think I was going out for a couple Italian roles, and it's so similar to French and Spanish. It was just like an easy ad. And yeah, that's how I like made my living as an actor, was like tutoring French and Spanish, and then I started tutoring Italian too.
Oh,
so
nice.
came in handy.
Yes.
Unbeknownst to my parents, it would be my like side hustle.
Just want to throw this out there. You mentioned Los Feliz in Los Angeles, and this is my Disneyland nerd knowledge right here. It's that area is where Walt Disney first had a home, and he first did the Walt Disney Studios in Los Feliz. Yeah, so it's just one of those things. Why I know, I don't know. I'm a big Disney fan, so
I didn't know that, and I live in Los Feliz right now. So.
Oh, nice! Every time I drive down to LA, I always say, "There's the exit right there, right off 5. Just got to go down. I forget the
Wow.
name, the street that he's on, but I know the Walt Disney Studio was right down the street from the house where Walt's uncle lived for a while. So
Oh, interesting. Well, yeah, there is Prospect Studios, which is ABC Disney. So maybe it's around there.
yeah,
That's in Los Feliz. That's cool.
I got to tell you where it is because I don't know where it is like streetwise. I just drove by there one day and I'm like, this is it. This is the house. You got to work with Cedric the Entertainer, the comedian in the neighborhood. How was it working with Cedric? I get this. I get a lot of people who are like, when you see someone like a Kevin Hart or Cedric the Entertainer, they take over the show in a way where you can't just control yourself but laugh so much because they're just so funny. Was it like that working with Cedric the Entertainer?
Thankfully, I did not laugh in any of the takes. um, but I think what was really cool about working on a multicam is I was on that set for, I believe, 3 days.
Okay.
And they do 2 days of rehearsal before they shoot. And they work it like a play. So when they do rehearsals, and it's all on one set, it's on one stage. So they do the full episode all together.
Oh, wow.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, they rehearse it. They start with the cold open or the teaser, and then they go to scene one, scene two, scene three, whatever, and we're all like traveling in the set together, which I thought was so cool. Yeah, and then the third day is like when we start shooting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
Nice. If you had to pick a genre of TV or film, comedy, drama, what would you Cosima feel comfortable playing?
I mean, the best of both worlds and do a dramedy.
Yeah.
I it's so hard. It's like choosing between like two of your kids. I love both drama and comedy. I did spend a lot of time in LA and like in the comedy scene. I did stand up, I did improv.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like my heart pulls a little bit more towards drama.
Okay.
But I love both of them, and I think that's what's cool about a dramedy is you can do both.
Well, your character Gabby is it's kind of like a drama. You play the serious role in the cleaning lady. If I ask this question to a lot of the guests that I have, if you can pick a movie or a play and be that main character in a movie or play, what would that movie be?
That's a great question. Um,
I know it's one of those questions where it's like, I'm always thinking like if I had a role or if someone said, "Hey, Eric, jump in a movie and we want you to play the leading role in this movie." I mean, I'm a sci-fi guy, so it's always going to be something Star Wars or something like that. Right?
mhm.
If I had a lightsaber in my hand, I'd be like, yes. Or I could even do something, Disney wise if there was a live action Disney film that I would do. That's just me.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I mean, I'm a big Shakespeare nerd, so maybe, Lady Macbeth or something like
Nice.
that. There was a Charlize Theron movie that came out a few years ago, and I felt really drawn to one of the characters, the character she played, and I don't remember the name of the movie. Um, it was yeah, one where she played like a author who was like a bitch. Yeah, that movie, which I don't know the name of, which is super helpful right now.
That's right. That's right. I mean, you as an actress in LA doing the things that you do, inspiring all these young ladies that, hey, I can do this. If I can do this now, you started at 6, you did commercials and now you're in this big network, Fox doing the cleaning lady. And the good thing about your character is they didn't kill you off. So we're going to see you again. You're definitely going to come back. You have kids that you have to take
Hope
care
so.
of. How was it on the set there? I see you guys, I follow a lot of, Miranda's group, Martha's group, Elodie's group. How was it on the set with you guys? You guys look like you guys are always having fun. You guys are having a blast. How was it? Is it like that?
Yeah. I thought it was like one of the funnest sets I've ever been on. And that was largely because Martha and Elodie were so awesome. Like they made me feel so welcome and yeah, a part of the gang, like from day one. Like I only had one day on set in episode 2, and I was like, just that one day, I was like, this is one of the best sets I've ever been on, and I love the cast. So I was super excited to be back for episode 5, and yeah, that was like 4 days, and yeah, like bonding for sure. Yeah, no, it was definitely like a really fun set to be a part of.
It looks fun. Even when you guys are on set and you guys are showing us that scene, episode 5 when you guys were cleaning the bus. I mean, did they tell you, hey, act like you're having fun, or did you guys just go ahead and act crazy?
That bus was super hot.
I bet it
So
was.
and it was very like cramped. So there was a little bit of some claustrophobic vibes going on. It was very fun. The thing about like shooting anything is you have to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I think it was like by the 15th million time that we were singing "Girls Just Want to Have Fun," we were maybe a little bit tired, but it was still. I mean, it was like, how often do you get to like be on a bus and just dance around with other girls?
Yes.
Like, it was awesome.
We got one comment here from Douglas who's on my show all the time, and he just says, "Aloha, everyone, loves the show." Thank you, Douglas, for jumping on. He's watching over on the YouTube channel. The name Cosima, when I first spoke to you, for some reason I kept wanting to say Cosima, but then you said it's Cosima. Where does that name come from? It's a name that I've probably heard once, but I never had to say over and over and over again. I was watching one of your YouTubes where you guys were doing a movie review, and I forget the guy's name, and he just kept going, Cosima Cabrera, Cosima Cabrera. That's how I was right before you got on. I just like Cosima, Cosima. Where does the name come from? It's a pretty name.
I believe it's Italian. My dad believed it was Greek, but I think so. It comes from the word cosmos, so I guess the root of it is Greek, but it's I believe a more common Italian name. So it means cosmic, of the cosmos,
Nice.
and my dad liked the name because he saw a movie, and one of the characters was named Cosima. And yeah, decided he wanted to name me that. And it was interesting because the movie was based on an Alan Dershowitz book, and it was based on real life. It was about, I think, a murderer and his family, and Cosima was his daughter, and they had like a weird close connection. Um, and this comes full circle because when I went to college, thank you, beautiful name, thank you. When I went to college, my freshman year, I went to Yale, and one of my first like acting classes, Alan Dershowitz's daughter was in the
Wow.
class. And I didn't actually know. I knew it was based on some character in a movie, but I didn't know it was like an Alan Dershowitz screenplay based on his book, until my mom told me that, and she was like, "Yeah, you're in a class with Alan Dershowitz's daughter. That his her father is connected to how you got your name." So
Wow.
that was a weird like full circle
Full
moment.
circle. Nice. Nice. I mean, it's a pretty name. It's like, again, it's one of those names where when I saw your name, I'm like, okay, I can't. Luckily, your last name is easy to pronounce. If you had a last name that's difficult to pronounce, I definitely would have been stuttering with the first and last name. What are some of the difficulties you have as an actress? What are the things that, when you get into an audition, what are some of the struggles and the hardship, I guess you can say, when it comes to being an actress?
I mean, the mere fact that it's extremely competitive can be challenging, but at the same time, it's also what makes it rewarding. Like for the average person, I don't think the average person knows it's very difficult, but they don't know like the nitty gritty and the details. Like for one line on television, an actor has to beat out about 4,000 other actors. Like, because before even getting the audition for just one line on television, I mean, depending on the show and everything, casting directors will get 2,000 to upwards of 4,000 submissions. So they
Wow.
have to narrow it down to, when it was in person, like 20 to 40 people. Now that it's like not as much in person and more self tapes, it might be a little bit more, but it's like statistically, you have half of a 1% chance of just getting an audition. And those are like the actors who have agents.
Yeah.
So, like, even there being 1 in 4,000, like, is you're already like ahead of the pack. And so, like, just half of a 1% chance just to get an audition. So it's a victory just to get an audition. It may not feel like it. It may feel like just another part that you're getting rejected from, but like just to get that far is a victory. And then once you have gotten it, still like 1 out of 20, 40, if it's like a series regular and they might be seeing hundreds of people, who knows, like, it's still like statistically it's a miracle when you book any job. So it's like that part is challenging. It also makes it super exciting when you do book a job. I've gone years without booking a job at all. Like, in 2016, I booked like 6 different things, had an amazing year, 3 TV shows, 3 movies. Then went, I think, 2.5 years before I booked another job.
Oh, wow.
And that's like common just simply because of like the statistical odds of like working. So you have to be in it for the long haul. You have to be, you comfortable with rejection. You have to be, and it's also like not getting attached, to like a role that you audition for. It's like you kind of put your heart and soul into something. Like usually you get 1 to 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, maybe if you're lucky to turn something in, and you like put your heart and soul into that thing for a couple days, and then you just send it off, let it go. 9 times out of 10, you won't ever hear back anything. Like I remember I had a callback for a movie once, and the casting director had requested several self-tapes for me before that. This was the first time I think I was going in person for a callback with her, and the directors and producers were there, and the director just said like, "Oh, so nice to meet you. We've seen your tapes so many times." And I had no clue. I
Wow.
was like, who? None of us have any idea what's happening to them.
Yeah.
We like know, like, at least the associate or the casting director maybe watches it once, but beyond that, we have absolutely no clue. Like,
Wow.
or even like how long they're watching it. Like if they watch 30 seconds, decide no, we're done. Like absolutely no clue. So it's it's a very unusual profession that requires like patience, perseverance, grit, the ability to not take rejection personally. Like that's a skill in and of itself. So but that's what also makes it rewarding at the same time.
Yeah. You've been doing this since the age of 6, so I'm pretty sure your skin is thicker than others when it comes to you auditioning for a part and them saying no, we're not going to go with you, and you're just like, okay, on to the next. For some people, with me, I don't take rejection well, so I'd probably be that guy that's going to be moping for like a month before I finally says, all right, let's try again in a different way. But that's the backstory of when it comes to actors and actresses, that they don't, Mark Ruffalo said it, how many auditions just to get one role before he became, the Mark Ruffalo that we know. And it's like, we don't see that. We always see is, you guys on the screen, you doing the best you can, providing for us, showing us that like, wow, Cosima's doing a great job here. But then we don't see what you had to do, what you had to, who you, I don't want to say step on, but the people you had to step on to get to the character that you have. And that's what I love about, seeing you guys on TV. It's like, I see you on TV and I see that, wow, you're there, you made it, but we don't see the back end of it, like what you had to do. And I'm pretty sure it's the same thing with the cleaning lady. The auditions you had to get through just to get Gabby there was probably what 10 or 15 Gabbies that auditioned for that role, right?
For the initial self tape, it could have been, I have no idea, but it could have been as much as 40, 50.
Yeah.
And then for the callback, maybe 10. We have no clue.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it does. I think you get more used to rejection the more you do it, but it's still always hard, Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this. If you could work with anybody right now, TV, movie, who would it be?
Was your guess going to be Drew Barrymore?
Everyone,
I
yeah.
mean, that would be cool. That
Yeah.
would be really cool.
I mean, they need to do a Charlie's Angels reboot, right? And
I mean, I think I'd be great.
I think you'd be great. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a blonde, a brunette, and is it a dark haired? Is that how the Charlie's Angels work? Is that how they did it?
Yeah. Okay, so then there was the latest one. There was Kristen Stewart, right?
Yeah.
And then there was, I don't think they've ever had a Latina Charlie's Angels, so I'm gonna be the first one.
There you go. Charlie's Angels was based in L.A. Come on, you have to have a Latina, Latina angel, right? Right?
Yeah,
You have
definitely.
to, and they can actually make your name Angel. It's like, hey, my name is Angel.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. Like Charlie is actually the name I used to go by when I was like 12 in one of my acting classes. I don't think they were confused by my name, so I just said just call me Charlie because I think I was like into Charlie's Angels or something. So I'm actually like writing a TV series myself right now, and Charlie is the name for that. It's based on my life. Charlie is the name for the character
Nice.
I'm based off of. Yeah.
Nice. And that's what I love about, you actors. And I brought this up before in a couple of the interviews that I had. You can't just really devote on acting. You got to find another niche. And a lot of actors are writers. A lot of writers are producers. What do you find more fulfilling for you, the acting part or the writing?
They're both really fulfilling. The thing about acting is, or writing is, you can't totally control if someone picks up your pilot or whatever, but you can control how much you write.
Yeah.
And so like for me, like I've been working on this series I've been writing since like September of 2020, and like I've written a lot of content. So that part like feels empowering. You can, but at the same time, like you can also act every day if you want to. Like ideally it helps to have another person.
Yeah.
But you can do monologues every day. If you really just want to practice the craft of acting and you don't have the money for an acting class, do a monologue every day, put it on camera, and you'll get better that way.
Nice.
Yeah, they're very similar muscles. They're just like, I guess, slightly different parts of the body. It's kind of how I do them. Yeah.
Cosima Cabrera. Everyone who's watching, we have Cosima Cabrera here from the cleaning lady. What's next for you? What's next? You did mention you're doing some writing. You're doing some writing. What's next? Small screen or big screen? Is there anything you can share with us?
Well, with my writing, I do have a producer who's shopping my pilot. It hasn't been picked up yet, but I hope it does
Nice.
get picked up. That would be my dream, to answer your question. Like dream role is my pilot gets picked up and I'm starring in the series that I've written. That would be dream. I did shoot. I was working on set for like a major FX TV show last week that I can't say the name of yet, and I don't know when it's going to be released. But yeah, that
Nice.
will be coming out eventually. And then in the meantime, I'm auditioning and putting vibes out there that I book another job, and or get put back on the cleaning lady if it gets renewed.
You'll
So
you'll you'll be. I mean, it's a loose end that they need to show us. I mean, tonight is the season finale. Everyone's already anticipating what's going to happen. But I'd like them to start season two on a nice note with, you coming back and Fee or Martha has your kids and you giving them a nice big hug and just giving that Martha the wink, like thank you for keeping an eye on my kids. I mean, that's something that we as fans would love to see. I would definitely like to see that, and that way we're not asking, hey, is what happened to Gabby? She's still,
right.
she's still not. I'm hoping season two gets picked up, and I'm hoping you are back there, and we see more of you in the future. I want to thank you for jumping on. I want to thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for doing all that. You are definitely welcome back to jump back on this show anytime you want, and you want to, when that new show drops on FX, if you want to talk about it, definitely, you're definitely more than welcome to jump back on the show anytime you want to do all that.
Thank you. It was so much fun being a part of this.
Oh man, you don't understand. It's one of those things, and I had Josette on last week, and she described getting a part is like winning the lottery, right? And she said, like, when you get a part, even at a callback's winning the lottery. This is my lottery right here. This, to me, when I get a response back from you guys, and you're like, yeah, I'd be more than happy to do it. I'm like, wow. I'm just the guy who's doing this, and I'm doing it. It started off with Martha. It came down to Miranda, and I was like, you know what? Let me see who I can get, and let me see who is actually going to say yes. And there's a few of you guys who were like, yeah, I'll be more than happy to share the story with you. And it's just one of those things where I'm not part of the filming, but I feel like I'm part of the family in a sense. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, totally.
I have another one coming on Wednesday. I have another guest coming on Wednesday. So by Wednesday, the show will be over, so we'll be able to talk more about what's going on. I know you can't talk about the finale today, and you better not bring it up because I don't want to hear it. No spoilers, please. No spoilers, please. But good luck in the future. Good luck in what you're doing moving forward. And again, if you're definitely more than welcome to come back on the show anytime you want.
Thank you. I look forward to being back.
All right. Cosima Cabrera, everyone here on the Daily Podcast. You can catch her on The Cleaning Lady. She's on episode 5, the Icebox. You guys got to watch that Icebox episode. If you guys have Hulu or even if you have Xfinity, just say The Cleaning Lady in your remote and then look for episode 5, the Icebox. I mean, just that scene when you like, when Elodie like pops your finger back in, I'm like, ooh, jeez.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. But it was a good episode, and it's one of those things where you definitely shined in that episode, and I would definitely want to see you back on, Miranda. We want her back on season 2, so bring her back on season 2, Miranda.
Thank you.
Cosima, thank you for coming on, and again, good luck in the future, and hope to talk to you soon.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, that's Cosima Cabrera right there. I want to thank you guys for jumping on. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys. Douglas, thank you for always throwing out comments like that. And thank you guys for jumping on. Definitely catch The Cleaning Lady. It's on tonight here in the Bay Area. It's on at 9 on Fox. Go ahead and watch it then. If you guys haven't watched the whole episodes of The Cleaning Lady, go ahead and download it either on Hulu or Xfinity, like I said. This podcast will be uploaded on my daily podcast channel, available on all podcast platforms: Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon. You could also watch the video either on my Facebook, but I do a lot of editing and I'm going to upload it on my YouTube channel. You can follow me on the daily vlogs with me, Eric B. It's right there. And the videos will be there in the next 20, 30 minutes, depending on how hungry I am and how quick I can edit. But until next time, I want to thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for jumping on. I'm going to end the live stream now. Thanks for watching, guys.